All that you have said is completely in contravention with our rules. And you know exactly that I won't undermine your knowledge when it comes to that. What you said, is here a supplementary question?
Mr. Speaker, not a supplementary question, but just a comment to the response that came. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the
Are you under the rules? Are you supposed to make comments?
Mr. Speaker, under the rules, we're supposed to do follow-up questions, but you know the law stands in your bosom. So with your leave at times, you can accommodate. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
No, I do not have leave to grant permission to anybody to violate our standing orders. And there is the need for us to take note of that. No speaker will have the leave to waive compliance with the standing orders. So I think, honourable members, we are to take note accordingly and act. Honourable member, this is a constituency-specific question. We move to question number 312, standing in the name of Professor Kinsley Nyako, Member of Parliament for Kwadaso.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs the total number of mosques in the country and the number of them that are registered. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the exact number of mosques in the country is not readily available at the ministry. However, there are some easily identifiable mosques, such as the National Mosque in Accra, the Bole Mosque in the Savannah region, Ahmadiyya Muslim Mosque located in Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, and other key locations. The Tamale Central Mosque in the Northern region, the Kumasi Central Mosque in the Ashanti region, the Medina Mosque, Nima Central Mosque, Tudu Central Mosque, Accra Newtown Mosque, Fadama Mosque, Laribanga Mosque, and several others classified as community or neighborhood mosque. Mr. Speaker, the ministry, as part of effort to document all religions in the country, is preparing to develop a database of all religious organizations. The objective is to keep records of all faiths, their places of worship, and others, and the exact location or addresses, including the number of mosques. Additionally, the ministry plans to engage the National Muslim Conference to review all mosques and Islamic sites to support the development of Islamic tourism in Ghana. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Any supplementary question?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to find out from the Honourable Minister the timelines for the establishment of the database. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this must be a process. Taking stock of all mosques in the country will be like a population census, because in most houses there are mosques. So if you want to say, I will give you 1 month, 2 months, I may end up not being a great service to this house. So it's a process, and I'm unable to give a definite timeline. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to find out from the Honourable Minister if he is prepared to engage the services of the regional ministers, the MMDCs, to help him to get a database in time. Thank you.
Question disallowed.
How?
Yes, your question is the number of mosques.
Okay.
So you are now talking about engagement with regional ministers.
I wanted to help him to know how to get it done expeditiously.
He didn't ask of your help.
He didn't ask for my help. Oh, okay. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
You're welcome.
My next submitted question is to find out from him when he is engaging the National Muslim Conference to review the mosques and Islamic sites, as he said, which are aimed in promoting Islamic tourism in the country. Thank you.
Question overruled.
Oh, Mr. Speaker, with respect, Mr. Speaker, with respect, he has indicated that he's going to engage the National Muslim Conference to do that. And he is saying that this engagement will help him to promote Islamic tourism. and you are telling me that it is overruled. It is
Is
relevant
that
question.
emanating from the original question?
Yes.
Your
Look at the answer.
original question.
Look at this unfair.
Please, your original question. You are a fan of behaving this way, and I take a great exception to it. Let us look at your original question together. Your original question is to ask the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs the total number of mosques in the country and the number of them that are registered. That is your question. And the rule says that supplementary question must originate from the original answer. Ask yourself, original question. Ask yourself whether the question you are asking is originating from the original question.
Mr. Speaker, with utmost respect, if you allow him to respond to the timelines, which are not even part of the question, the timelines question that he answered is not part of the original question. You allow that one, and you are disallowing this one.
Do you have a further supplementary question?
Oh, Mr. Speaker, this is not.
Yes. Honorable
Speaker, I commend you that you often want us to respect procedure and, of course, our orders. Speaker, the provision of Order 89 is clear. It's clear. For the avoidance of that, as soon as the question is answered, a member beginning with the member who asks the question may, without notice, ask a supplementary question for further clarification of any matter of fact on the answer. But the supplementary question shall not introduce a matter not included in the original question. That is the rendition.
Yes.
Because the practice has been that where ministers come to this House and give answers to questions put out to them, we often ask supplementary questions flowing from the answers. With the greatest respect to you, I'm not challenging your ruling. If you look at the answers by our friend, our minister, the follow-up question by the honorable member is
Can
tenable.
they look at the concluding aspect of the order that you have read?
Well, Speaker, I'm not limiting myself to the orders alone. I'm only saying my argument is anchored on the fact that his answers call for that very supplementary question. So it is the case that, if I may conclude, it's the case that the minister has opened himself up. He has opened himself up. Besides the original text, he has gone ahead to elucidate, and that has given rise to a reasonable question coming from the questioner. That's why it makes sense.
I always maintain that unless the concluding remark is changed to a question, changed to the answer other than the original question, your supplementary question must emanate from the original question. The minister, the rules does not allow me to control the minister as to the kind of answers that the minister is coming to give. But the rules allows me to control a supplementary question. That is why the clarification, you can see clarification, but supplementary question shall not introduce a matter not included in the original question. So tell me the question that he's asking. How can it be included in the total number of mosques that we have in this country?
Speaker,
that's the original question.
Speaker,
so I want us to come to this understanding.
Speaker, you are right.
That
you are right.
yes,
to that end,
it is saying the original question. And the original question he asks is the total number of mosques
I believe that
we have in this country. And the rule is guiding me that, or all of us, that you must not introduce a new matter, but your question must come from the original, supplementary question must come from the original question. So until the rule is amended, I will upheld the provision as it is. Yes?
I think, Mr. Speaker, let's not belabor this point. We argued this about a month ago, myself and the minority leader, and you gave a ruling which is founded on the language of our own standing orders, that all supplementary questions must be based on the question, not the answer given by the minister, unless the answer given by the minister pertains to the facts in the question. You can ask supplementary questions drawing on the answer. But to bring something completely innocuous that the minister said in the process of answering the question, which is unrelated to the question, and then want the minister to answer it, it doesn't fall within the confines of our rules. You gave that ruling. So, Mr. Speaker, if we may proceed.
I take exception to the use of the language. You are not being fair. This is not fair. I believe it is not parliamentary enough. Yes.
To ask the minister whether he will take steps to get assemblies to ensure that religious buildings also take permits, because in your own assembly regulations, all buildings must have permits, and religious buildings also required to have
Honorable
permits.
Majority Leader, question overruled. Yes, we move to question number 314. Standing in the name of Professor Kinsley Nyako, Member of Parliament for Kwadaso.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to find out from the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs how the ministry intends to promote a productive working relationship between members of Parliament and metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives to ensure effective governance in the various local assemblies. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Section 5(1), Paragraph C of the Local Governance Act 2016, Act 936, provides that a district assembly shall consist of the member or members of Parliament for the constituencies that fall within the area of authority of the district assembly. This statutory arrangement creates a formal mechanism for collaboration between honorable members of Parliament and metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives in planning, budgeting, and development oversight at the local level. Mr. Speaker, Article 2521 and 2 of the 1992 Constitution state respectively that there shall be a fund to be known as the District Assembly's Common Fund, and Parliament shall annually make provision for the allocation of not less than 5% of the total revenue of Ghana to the district assemblies for development. In practice, the distribution of DACF to various MMDAs is guided by 3 key criteria: the needs of each assembly, equality to ensure fair allocation of national resources, and service pressure, which considers the level of demand placed on existing facilities, particularly in urban areas. These criteria ensure that resources are directed where they are most needed, with input from the respective honorable members of Parliament during General Assembly meetings. Furthermore, under Section 126 of Act 936, the Ministry, through the DACF, is enhancing the financial allocation available to MMDAs to strengthen development planning, project execution, and service delivery at the local level. Mr. Speaker, in addition to DACF, honorable members of Parliament also receive a constituency allocation, commonly referred to as MP's Common Fund. This allocation, which is drawn from a percentage of DACF, supports small-scale development needs, such as assistance to vulnerable constituencies, the provision of farm inputs, and community facilities, including boreholes and water systems. To ensure that these resources complement district development priorities, it is important that MMDCEs meet regularly with their respective members of Parliament to discuss pressing local needs, align intervention with the Assembly's medium-term development plan, and channel requests through the appropriate funding resources. Mr. Speaker, the ministry is accordingly working to ensure that such engagements are held consistently as they form a verbal platform for strengthening the working relationship between MMDCEs and honorable members for improving the coordination of development effort at the local level. Mr. Speaker, the ministry is also strengthening protocols that require MMDCEs to notify and brief honorable members of parliament on key planning, budgeting, and development committee meetings, so that constituency priorities are reflected in the medium-term development plans and local projects are jointly monitored and publicly accountable to the people. Furthermore, the ministry continues to facilitate joint engagement on strategic initiatives. A recent example is the national orientation session on the 24-hour economy model market for regional ministers and MMDCs, which provided guidance on implementation, stakeholder coordination, and financing arrangements. As a rollout continues, MMDAs are encouraged to brief and involve honorable members in local consultations and collaborate with them to support that all these interventions are carried on successfully. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, any supplementary question?
Mr. Speaker, interestingly, the minister has provided more than required. However, I want to find out from him, in fostering this productive working engagement, will you consider having an engagement with all MMDCs and members of parliament? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this question is very important. Yesterday was my 5th day of having an engagement with the MMDAs. And Mr. Speaker, the expose that I'm being confronted with call for serious intervention of members of parliament on the activities of the assemblies. And Mr. Speaker, I have said it publicly and in the engagement that I will engage the District Assembly Common Fund Administrator to make sure that all monies that are transferred to the Assembly, the members of parliament must be copied, including the Persons with Disability Fund, the DACF RFG, and the MP's Common Fund. Mr. Speaker, the Assembly members do not have capacity to do the proper oversight of the huge resources that we are giving to them. And the technocrats at the assemblies are just bullying the assembly members without giving them proper documentation. So, Mr. Speaker, we are not ready to shield anybody. So this calls for a serious engagement, but you know I always speak with evidence. Until I finish the engagement, compile the report, have meeting with leadership before that platform can be created. I don't want to be operating on hearsay. There need to be evidence and there need to be relevant and empirical evidence that will call for the areas that the MPs and the MMDCs will collaborate together to be able to solve. But we are not creating tests for ourselves. Our interest is to serve the people who elected us. They've elected us to be members of parliament. The DCs are appointed to represent the president. The assembly members are elected to do oversight there. But we are also ex-officio members in the assemblies. That is the system that we have, and we must work with it. Thank you.
Any further supplementary?
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the minister for the useful responses. However, Mr. Speaker, the unfairness that I use, I want you to just take it up
should I ask that all others that we have used should equally be expunged?
Sorry?
All others that you have used, because this is not the first time.
Mr. Speaker, you know, you and I are friends, but at times, you know what I mean? You're my buddy, but at times, you know, at times allow some of these things. But with all due respect, I didn't mean to enjoy your reputation. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to find out from the Minister for Local Government, in the event where the MMDCs refuse blatantly to notify and brief members of parliament of the happenings and the development programs that continue to proceed at the district assembly, what are the sanctions that the ministry will do to them? Thank you.
But the question is not talking about sanction. Why are you introducing sanctions?
No, the question is about the relationship.
Yes.
And out of the relationship, the minister has indicated that the MMDCs are to notify and brief members of parliament.
As measures to promote
Exactly.
So the good working relationship.
So that is why I'm asking, in the event where they fail...
Measures to promote a good relationship may not necessarily result into sanction.
Yes. So
if you want a question or the minister to come and answer as to whether or not there is available sanction, you know what to do.
Mr. Speaker, let me rephrase my question by asking the Honorable Minister. In the event where MMDs fail to engage and brief members of parliament, what are some of the remedies that the Ministry of Local Government would implement in this regard?
Again, look at the question. The question is not talking about any remedial measures. Honourable members, can we move to question number 709, standing in the name of Honourable Ernest Yao, Enim, Member of Parliament for Kumewu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs the measures being taken to rally the support of chiefs and community stakeholders to address the phenomenon of witchcraft accusations.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the phenomenon of witchcraft accusations remains a pressing social challenge in our country, often resulting in stigma, violence, and exclusion of vulnerable groups, especially women, children, and the elderly. The accusations undermine the dignity of our citizens and threaten the peace of our communities. Mr. Speaker, the private members' bill on witchcraft accusations, introduced by Honorable Francis Xavier Sosu, MP for Medina, seeks to criminalize such accusations, protect victims, and punish perpetrators. While the bill has been tabled, it has not yet been passed into law. In September 2025, the Human Rights Committee of Parliament assured the stakeholders that it will reintroduce the bill for passage and presidential assent. The Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAG, and other civil society groups have also urged Parliament to expedite its passage, citing rising cases of violence linked to witchcraft accusations. Mr. Speaker, until the bill is enacted, Ghana lacks a comprehensive national law specifically criminalizing witchcraft accusations. Victims remain vulnerable to stigma, violence, and exclusion, particularly in rural areas. However, this presents a policy opportunity for the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs to rally chiefs, religious leaders, and grassroots support before the bill is finalized. Mr. Speaker, this year, the Ministry has set a target to review 2 existing laws on witchcraft enacted within the sub-region, with the aim of aligning Ghana's legal framework with international human rights standards. We are also considering the adoption of the private members' bill on witchcraft accusation. Collaboration with the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection remains essential to safeguard vulnerable population and ensure comprehensive protection mechanisms, including shelters for victims of witchcraft accusation, domestic violence, child trafficking, and child marriage. Mr. Speaker, the rationale behind our resolve is clear. Chiefs, queen mothers, and traditional leaders are custodians of culture and authority in our communities. Their support is critical in reshaping attitudes, preventing harmful practices, and promoting reconciliation. By rallying their voices, legislative reforms will be grounded in cultural legitimacy and community acceptance, while protecting the dignity and rights of all citizens. Accordingly, the Ministry, in collaboration with other public institutions and development partners, will do the following. 1, will engage chiefs, religious leaders, and community stakeholders in dialogue on dangers of witchcraft accusations, including Honorable Ernest Yao Kumi's constituency of Kumau, where His Royal Majesty, Berima Chunibua Kodua, Kumau Mahine, has contributed immensely to health matters before the regional and national houses of chiefs. Mr. Speaker, we will also integrate traditional authority perspective into the private members' bill and sub-regional law review. We will also strengthen collaboration with the Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection for victim protection and with emphasis on shelters and psychological support. Mr. Speaker, we will promote community-based mechanisms using chiefs and religious leaders to prevent violence and safeguard vulnerable groups from all forms of domestic and gender-based violence. Mr. Speaker, through these interventions, we expect to do the following. Chiefs, traditional councils, faith-based organizations to publicly denounce witchcraft accusations, a reduction in reported cases of witchcraft-related stigma and violence, harmonized legislation aligned with human rights and cultural legitimacy, strengthen protection and reintegration of victims into communities, and enhance collaboration between ministries, traditional authorities, and civil society. Mr. Speaker, let us rise as a parliament, chiefs, faith-based leaders, and civil societies to end the surge of witchcraft accusations, and let Ghana be known not for exclusion and fear, but for dignity, compassion, and justice for all. Thank you, Honorable Member, for your question.
Any supplementary question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Minister, thank you for your responses to the question. But then, in the committee's interaction with the Minister for Gender, she did indicate that government has plans to adapt the bill. So I would want to find out...
Honorable Member, you are violating Order 88.7.
Mr. Speaker, this is in line with the answers from the Minister.
You ask supplementary question. Or should I read Order 88.7 for you? With all
Thank you,
due
Mr.
respect,
Speaker.
let
Thank
us
you, Mr.
all look
Speaker.
at 88.7 together. A member in asking question shall not address the House. So you cannot address the House. 2, you can raise any argument. 3, you cannot even offer your opinion. That is what 88.7 A, B, and C is saying. So it's strictly supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Minister, I would like to find out if the ministry will lend support to the gender minister and mobilize cabinet support for government to adapt this bill.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I've stated that we will collaborate with the gender minister. And the gender minister is an honorable sister of this house. So we will work collaboratively together with you. And I've even brought in your traditional leader, the Berima Chunibua Kodua. So we'll work together. Your expectations will be met. Thank you.
Any further question?
Thank you, Minister. Minister, I would also want to find out, before the passage of this all-important bill, which is the anti-witchcraft bill, we would like to know what immediate protections the ministry is going to propose to protect vulnerable older women.
To protect who?
Vulnerable older women who are always accused of this phenomenon.
Very well. You didn't add the accusation aspect of it. Yes, Minister. Yes, Honorable Minister. What will you do to, in the meantime, protect people who are accused of witchcraft?
Mr. Speaker, there are so many interventions being rolled out by the Minister of Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs, together with the Minister of Gender. All other social interventions have been increased. and you could see my sister, the gender minister, going up and down. The assembly's quantum of money that they receive for the vulnerable has also been increased. So this is a local issue, and I wouldn't, as a ministry from the center, I don't think we have an envelope. Well, we send everything to the grassroots. So wherever they are, however, we don't want some specific district to be handling national issues only with the local thing, small thing given to them. That's why I'm saying we'll collaborate with the gender minister, because she has been handling the matters of leave, the matters of the vulnerable, and all those things. So we'll collaborate. So far, something is being done, but let not be specific. Because my attention has been that even the Honorable Susu just told me that the bill has already been gazetted. So plans are far advanced. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, Minister, for your commitment to this, and the committee stands ready to work with you and the Gender Ministry to ensure that this all-important bill comes back and is passed by Parliament. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to also add my voice to sincerely appreciate the work of the Minister in terms of the support they've given
Under
to the
what rule
anti-witchcraft.
are you adding your voice?
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
I've also asked you a question. Under what rules are you adding your voice to the answer provided by the Minister?
I'm actually satisfied by the answer, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Richard Achampong.
Mr. Speaker, I want to find out from the Minister. Is it wrong to be a witch?
File a fresh question.
Because, Mr. Speaker, somebody is a Christian.
We are not looking at
a Muslim,
the
and
Honorable
somebody has
Richard
decided to be a witch.
Achampong. Honorable
And
Richard
you want to
Achampong.
bother your head about this.
Honorable Richard Achampong, the question is to rally support of the chiefs and community stakeholders to address the phenomenon of witchcraft accusation. As to whether it is right or wrong, you may file a fresh question.
No, Mr. Speaker, if I'm a witch and you accuse me, I'm a witch. So what is the point?
Please file a fresh question. Honourable members, in the absence of any further question, we'll move to question numbered 527, standing in the name of Honourable Martin Kwaku Ajay Mensah Kosa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Honourable Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, when the upgrade of some districts to municipalities and some municipalities to metropolitan assemblies commenced by the previous government would be completed. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, may I thank the respected former Minister for Local Government for the question, and to assure him that I'm continuing his work in progress. So, just to allay your fears. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry received numerous petitions between 2020 and 2024, requesting the elevation of some districts and municipalities to municipalities and metropolises, respectively. Following extensive consultation and technical assessment, executive approval was granted by His Excellency the former President in December 2024, which was widely published, but this could not be laid in Parliament due to transitional processes and other administrative issues following the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Thus, the legislative instruments to complete the process of upgrading these districts and municipalities as per Section 3(1) of the Local Governance Act 2016, Act 936, could not be laid for consideration and passage. Mr. Speaker, in the latter part of last year, 19th December 2025, the Ministry constituted and inaugurated a technical committee under the chairmanship of Honorable Johnson Asidun Ketia, with the terms of reference as follows. A, review relevant information and data available to the Ministry and other agencies relating to upgrading of districts. B, where necessary, undertake field visit to selected districts and municipalities to engage chiefs and other opinion leaders. C, where necessary, engage relevant ministries, departments, and agencies. D, make other recommendations to the Honorable Minister on reforms to strengthen local governance and decentralization. And E, submit a report and make appropriate recommendations to the Honorable Minister for consideration and policy directions within 8 weeks. Mr. Speaker, the committee submitted a report and recommendations for the upgrading of 12 municipalities and a district to metropolis, as well as 20 districts to metropolitan municipalities. I have forwarded the report to the Office of the President for consideration and executive approval. Once approval is received, the ministry will follow due process, particularly laying of the legislative instrument in Parliament for passage. And I can assure my brother that Techiman is included. Thank you.
Speaker, do I have your attention to?
Yes, any supplementary question?
Mr. Speaker, I think the answer from the minister is elaborate enough. It deals with my concerns, so that will be all for it. I want to thank him for his time. Thank you, Minister.
Very well. Honourable members, let's then move to the question numbered 708, standing in the name of Honourable Charles Oredu, Member of Parliament for Ebrim. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the honourable member has indicated to leadership that he wants the question withdrawn. And so to that end, I come under Order 92 to seek your leave.
Please, you have my leave.
For the question to be withdrawn.
Yeah, very well.
Thank you.
Question accordingly withdrawn. Now we'll move to question numbered 763. Standing in the name of Honorable Akwesi Jemfi Onyine Achampong.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs when the abandoned Ashian AstroTurf in the Kwabri East constituency will be completed. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, our checks indicate that the contracting authorities and implementing agencies responsible for the Ahian AstroTurf project does not fall under the oversight responsibility of the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. Consequently, the Ministry is unable to provide authoritative updates on the status, funding arrangements, or execution of the progress of the project accordingly. Thank you.
Yes, any supplementary?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker. These belts were collapsed under the local government. I want to find out why the minister is saying he doesn't know.
But what the minister is saying is a matter of fact. So you want to find out why he's stating the minister is stating a matter of fact.
I want to find out the projects were under middle belt. And I know the middle belts and these development belts have been collapsed under the local government ministry. So it is in right order to ask the local government minister for a situation of a project
but
under
the institutions
the
under
belt.
reference, were they under the local government ministry?
They have now been collapsed under the local government ministry. So now, if I want to find answers to that, where would I go? Because they've been collapsed under the local government ministry.
That's why I'm asking. Before the alleged collapse, were they under the local government ministry?
They were not, but they are now under the local government ministry.
So if they were not under the local government ministry, then it means that during the time they were in existence, local government ministry is not responsible. So they wouldn't be in a position to answer the question. And that is what exactly the minister is saying.
Mr. Speaker, but now he is responsible. So if they don't have a ministry now, and I need answers for the people of Kwabri East, people of Esha, where do I go for answers?
But does the Minister for Local Government have the power to collapse any institution?
Mr. Speaker, this was a government policy. So, and he is the local government minister, and they have collapsed these belts, the middle belt, under the local government
That's why I'm
ministry.
asking whether the minister responsible for local government have the authority to collapse any belt.
Mr. Speaker, guide me. So I need your guidance here.
Yes, that's
Under
why I
this
have a problem
circumstance-
with the question you are asking, flowing from the answer that the minister has given. Because you are now making an allegation that the local government minister has collapsed those belts.
Mr. Speaker, first of all, let me clarify. I didn't say the local government minister was the one who collapsed.
Yes, you said the ministry
I am
has
saying-
collapsed.
Mr. Speaker, please let's get the gravamen of my submission. What we are discussing now is not the substance. What I'm saying is that I want guidance. If the middle belt has been collapsed under the local government ministry, and you say the local government minister cannot give me information and data on that, I'm saying if I want information for the good people of Kwabri East and Esha as to the status of this park, where should I go and who should I ask?
Well, you find
If
out
not
from
the local
yourself
government
when the
minister.
agency was in
No.
existence. They were, which ministry were they under?
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
assuming that ministry that they were under is no longer a ministry in this government, which minister am I going to ask?
So, assuming you are a minister which happens not to be the oversight minister for an institution, and then that institution is not in existence, they are now asking you, the new minister, which ministry the institution have not come under, to come and answer questions pertaining to that particular ministry. Is that being fair to the? Are you being fair to the minister?
Mr.
Because
Minister,
he
Speaker,
is not responsible
Mr. Speaker.
for those agencies. So if you need my guidance, see me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Honorable Kinsinyako.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, when the 2025 budget statement was read, it indicated that those three belts have been placed under the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs. In fact, I did ask a question here, and that all the staff of those belts were now under the employ of the Honorable Minister's ministry. So if you want to find an answer to that theft, Mr. Speaker, he is the right person to be able to give us the information because the staff are with you now. Mr. Speaker,
Floor
with
again
respect-
to the local government minister.
Mr. Speaker, the problem of ASRO tests, just as my honorable colleagues wanted to know, were mixed up, which the Minister for Youth and Sports did not even have control or accountability. Projects were done by GNPC, given to private persons. Some done by Ghana Gas, given to private persons. Some done by other energy institutions, given to private persons. Some GNPC will award, DACF will award, then they will go and be competing for who should do it in that park. So that is why I didn't want to go deep. And I said once they were not awarded by the Ministry of Local Government, I was unable to go further. However, I've been talking to the Minister for Youth and Sports, Honorable Kofi Adams, that he should take stock of all the astrotests in the country. Then they will be under the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Recreation, so that they will be controlled by him. Because when you put government money into an AstroTurf. Then you give it to a private person. Then he will be giving it out. 2 hours, you pay 200. Some 2 hours, you pay something. And this does not go into Ghana government coffers. I didn't want to go deep. That's why I said that. Then on the middle belt, yes, middle belt has been collapsed. Coda has been collapsed. The works that they were doing are being undertaken by the jurisdictional, metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. And yes, and some of those projects were awarded by word of mouth. No documents to cover them. So if you are given a contract and there are no documents, how do we account for the contract? Some people, because of the elections, some people were out to go and start, will regularize it. They started and there are no contract documents. So now they don't know where to go. One of them is in Man District, where a bridge was connecting Ghana to Ivory Coast. No document. And I nearly lost my elections on that. But God saved me. But it was word of mouth. But now I'm there. The contractor comes, where are your documents? So these are the matters we are talking of. So there is a law with the Attorney General to collapse that. No, Middle Belt and Coda. Most of the projects in Coda are being completed by the MMDAs in Greater Accra, just as I'm going on the tour. So some work is being done. But in order to be able to go deep into some of those things that you are talking of, you yourself, you know. So, Mr. Speaker, if we want to go deep into that, we may not finish. And that is why I said some were under DACF, some were under Ghana Gas, some were under GMPC, some were under Bui Power Authority, and AstroTurf became a campaign tool. So some institutions awarded 3-3 to certain constituencies. Meanwhile, there's one park. They go there, no land. Some don't even have documents. So Parliament may even have to come in. Parliament must come in for us to be able to go and investigate some of those things, to be able to complete them. Then those that are being overtaken by individuals, we have to confiscate them and give them to the state. So, Mr. Speaker, there's a job to be done. And I thank you for the opportunity given to me.
Yes.
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, if you permit me, I don't want to be flouting 88.7, but the answers of the minister, I invite him. For instance, answers about same project being awarded by multiple entities. Very interesting. And I say, Speaker, I say that as part of our oversight, we should be able to investigate, or as it were, pierce the veil, and be able to tell which authority awarded these contracts. It cannot be that we'll just throw our hands out and say that, okay, the impression out there is that multiple awards were done, and therefore we cannot give authoritative answer. Minister, to the extent that you had admitted that some were awarded by some assemblies, and these assemblies under your purview, these ones, we should be able to speak to it. So I'm simply saying,
you see,
we don't have to leave this matter.
You see, honorable
Speaker, I'm simply making suggestion that we shouldn't leave this matter. Maybe the honorable member may not have directed the question in terms of the couching of the question. We may still have to pry further and find some answers. Maybe we'll seek further clarification and guidance from you and be able to get to the bottom of this concern, because they are real concerns and we cannot gloss over them.
Honorable Minority Chief Whip, you see, I'm also aware that once this AstroTurf relate to sporting activity, the minister responsible for youth and sports was asked to do certain work. When we sit up here, having that background, we try to direct and shape the mood of the House. So if the questioner has taken a cue and even asking him to see me, all that the minister has said wouldn't have been part of the record. So please, sometimes when we give direction, take it in good faith. It's more complex than what you can imagine. So your request that you are making, we may get there. So rest assured that we may get there and get to the bottoms of the matter. Because you take all the astroturf in the country, it's not being done in a structured manner. So it cut across various ministries. You need an investigation to be able to know that this is the ministry that the particular astroturf in question is emanating from, so as to direct your answer to that particular minister. This was the second answer in relation to astroturf by the minister responsible for local government, that it is not his outfit who is undertaking the project. So he is unable to provide specific details to answer the questions. I believe the first one, the questioner took it in good faith and was going to do a further investigation to know the ministry. But the second one, the questioner did not take it in good faith, and we need to get to where we are now. So sometimes our directions should not be taken for a ride. So definitely, I believe after the work of the minister responsible for youth and sports, we'll get to the bottom that you are asking for. Honourable members, at this point, let me crave your indulgence to welcome our revered visitors, first from Universal International School, led by Erika Pia Dabanka, headmaster. They are from Ekwima Mobiaja South constituency, the numbered 26. We also have University of Education Winneba Students Bar Association, led by Eyin Dango Elijah Ndego, president. They are from Ejumako Enyan Esiem, the numbered 16. Then we also have University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development, USTED, led by Isa Owusu, president. They are from Kwadaso, the numbered 42. So, honourable members, on your behalf, I welcome our dear students to Parliament of Ghana and urge them to have a fruitful visit. Thank you very much for coming. Yes, honourable members, we then have to move to question number 594, standing in the name of Alhaji Alhassan Mumuni, Member of Parliament for Salaga North.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs the effort the ministry is making to complete the District Assembly Office Complex at Palibi.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the contract for the construction of Northeast Gonya District Assembly Office Complex was initially awarded by the Ministry of Local Government to Mrs. A. Asita Company Limited in June 2019, with funding from the District Assembly Common Fund. However, the contract was terminated and subsequently re-awarded to Mrs. Masin Construction Company Limited on 31st March 2023 due to persistent non-performance and failure by the contractor to meet contractual obligations and project timeliness. Mr. Speaker, I wish to indicate that the project has progressed substantially and is currently at the finishing stage. Major structural and plastering work have been completed. Outstanding works include floor and wall tiling, ceiling installation, printing and electrical fitting, plumbing fixtures, and external finishing works. Mr. Speaker, However, the project experienced significant delays due to irregular cash flows and delayed in honoring of interim payment certificates that are affecting the contractor's capacity to sustain the operation and complete the outstanding works within the expected time frame. Mr. Speaker, as part of effort to expedite completion of the project, the ministry, through a letter dated 26 January 2026, granted approval for the Northeast Gonya District Assembly to participate directly in the financing and project management of the outstanding work through the utilization of percentage of its legacy component of the DACF allocation. And the project consultant on 14th May 2026 for completion. Consequently, a meeting was held between the Assembly, contractor, and the project consultants on 14th May 2026 to deliberate on modalities for the completion of the project. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, any supplementary question?
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, can we be assured of some timelines to end office under trees in the Assembly?
Yes, Minister, any timeline?
Mr. Speaker, the cost of the project was 2.1 million in 2019. In 2023, it was repackaged and awarded at the cost of 2.9 million. 1.4 million had been paid. The outstanding amount to be paid is 1.4 million. The amount given to the Assembly is far in excess of what is left to complete this. And that is why we gave them the power of attorney that they should take custody and use their legacy component to complete it. So the honorable member is an ex-officio member of the Assembly, and the DC is the one who will be working from the Assembly. So both of them should use their local resources and give themselves timeline to complete it. Thank you.
So, honorable member, give timeline to yourself.
Thank you very much. Guided.
Honorable members, this is a constituency-specific question. On that note, question time has ended. Honorable members, I'll take 2 minutes suspension.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, we are most grateful for you attending upon the House to respond to the questions scheduled for you. We are done. You are accordingly discharged. Yes, Majority Leader.
Yeah, we agree that the Minister for Interior will lay item number 8A, after which, Mr. Speaker, we can move to statements.
It's item number 10A, page 6 of the order paper.
No, it is 8A. 8A, laying, page 4. 8A. Annual statement of the Audit Committee of the Ghana Immigration Service.
Very well. You are right. Item numbered 8A. Item numbered 8A by the Minister for the Interior.
Annual Statement of the Audit Committee of the Ghana Immigration Service for the year 2025.
Honourable members, paper duly presented, and it is referred to the committee responsible for Defence and Interior. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we agreed that the Minister for the Interior has a statement, and if you so permit, we can take it now.
Very well. I believe he's making the statement under Order 91.
Very much so, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Honourable Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise on Order 93 on this auspicious occasion of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, also known as World Drug Day, observed annually on 26th of June, which is tomorrow, to draw the attention of this august House and the good people of Ghana to one of the most urgent security and public health challenges confronting our nation and the world at large. Mr. Speaker, this day, established by the United Nations General Assembly in 1987, is a solemn reminder of the global commitment to build a society free from drug abuse. This year's theme, the world's problem, persisting issues, new challenges, innovative response, is a clarion call that is deeply resonant for Ghana. Mr. Speaker, it is not enough to acknowledge the problem. We must respond with urgency, innovation, and solidarity. The drug threat in Ghana is real. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is no longer a transit country for illicit drugs. We are increasingly becoming a destination and a consumption market. The scourge of drug abuse cuts across age groups, communities, and social classes. Cannabis, locally known as weed, continue to dominate the domestic drug landscape. Of particular concern is the phenomenon known as nationally as Ghana Loud, a potent high THC cannabis variant cultivated within our own borders, harvested, packaged, and marked with a Ghana flag, which has attracted the attention of drug enforcement agencies across the sub-region and beyond with multi-ton seizures records. Mr. Speaker, while the misuse of synthetic opioids such as tramadol and tapentadol, particularly among the youth, commercial drivers, and workers in high-risk sectors, continue to pose serious concern, the human cost of this crisis is broken family, lost productivity, and overwhelmed health system, and compromised national security demands that this Parliament takes an unflinching stand. Mr. Speaker, I take this opportunity to commend the management and staff of the Narcotics Control Commission, Ghana's primary institution mandated to lead the fight against drug trafficking, abuse, and related offenses. Since the enactment of the Narcotics Control Commission Act 2020, Act 1019, NARCOC has worked tirelessly to fulfill this sole mandate, operating within limited resources, yet demonstrating commendable dedication and professionalism. In 2025 alone, NARCOC recorded 217 arrests, representing a 197% increase, initiated 165 drug-related prosecutions as compared to the previous year, and they seized 8.5 tons of assorted narcotics drugs. The Commission also intensified financial investigations, recovering 73 tainted assets, seizing over 19 kilograms of gold linked to suspected drug money laundering, and restraining cash and asset valued at more than 6.9 million and 440,000 US dollars. Equally worth noting was the expansion of the preventive education through which NARCOC reached over 500,000 persons, to be precise 506,521 persons across all 16 regions of Ghana via 2,117 drug abuse prevention programs delivered in schools, workplaces, communities, faith-based institutions, and through the media. However, Mr. Speaker, we must be candid. NARCOC continues to operate under significant capacity constraint. While the Commission has a presence in all the 16 regions of Ghana, it is currently operational in only 66 of the 261 districts, meaning that well over 2/3 of Ghana's districts remain without a dedicated NARCOC presence. This is a coverage gap that drug traffickers and dealers exploit with impunity. Mr. Speaker, if Ghana intends to win this fight, then resourcing NARCOC must move from aspirational to action. The Commission requires modern drug detection technology, well-trained and adequately remunerated personnel, operational logistics, and a legislative framework that is dynamic enough to keep pace with the ever-evolving tactics of drug traffickers and the emergence of new psychoactive substances. A mandate is only as effective as the resources provided for its implementation. Mr. Speaker, the above notwithstanding, it is important that this House acknowledges the significant support government has extended to the Narcotics Control Commission in the last 18 months. This support has gone beyond policy declaration to tangible investment in the Commission's operational capacity and institutional development. Government has provided critical operational logistics and infrastructure, including vehicles and additional office accommodation at Roman Ridge. It has also championed key reforms, notably the grant of prosecutorial powers to the Commission to help deal with the delay of their prosecutions when it has to be done by the Attorney General, and also the establishment of a special drug court, which is by the grace of God and the help of the Chief Justice to enhance the swift administration of justice in the narcotics-related cases. In addition, government has demonstrated strategic foresight through its commitment to establish a national drug forensic laboratory and supporting drug use prevention and public education programs. Mr. Speaker, these interventions are already yielding results by strengthening narcotics operational effectiveness, expanding its national reach, and enhancing Ghana's capacity to prevent, detect, investigate, and prosecute drug-related offenses. They represent a clear commitment to building a modern, responsive, and effective national drug control system. Mr. Speaker, while these interventions have yielded positive results, the scale and complexity of the drug problem requires sustained investment. More districts need a narcotics presence. Prevention programs must be expanded and rehabilitation services strengthened if Ghana is to remain ahead of the evolving drug threats. Mr. Speaker, effective drug control is not solely a law enforcement matter. It demands a whole of government and a whole of society approach that integrates enforcement with prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation. I call on this House to support government in considering the following priorities: oversight very effectively the budgetary allocation to NACOC to close critical capacity gaps in intelligence, interception, and forensic analysis. Strengthen the regulatory framework for precursors, chemicals, and pharmaceutical supply chain to curb the diversion of substances like tramadol. Establish National Rehabilitation Center, particularly one in every region, to meet the needs of Ghanaians suffering from substance use disorders. Expand drug education and demand reduction programs in schools, communities, and workplaces, targeting youth who remain most vulnerable. Introduce an executive order that makes mandatory drug tests as a pre-employment requisite for entry into the public service and the private sector to safeguard institutional integrity, promote workplace safety, and deter drug use among the youth and working population. Mr. Speaker, the global consensus has increasingly affirmed that drug addiction is, first and foremost, a public health issue and not simply a criminal one. Those who suffer from substance use disorder deserve compassionate, evidence-based care, not stigma. While the law must hold traffickers and criminal syndicates accountable, our response to the individual struggling with addiction must be grounded in humanity and dignity. Mr. Speaker, Sections 222, 23, and 24 of the Narcotics Control Commissions Act 2020, Act 1019, establish the Substance Use Disorder Rehabilitation Fund, define its purpose, and provides its funding sources. The legal framework already exists. What is needed is funding. I therefore urge this House to support the Commission in its advocacy for the allocation of resources to the fund to enable NACOC to establish the rehabilitation centers urgently needed for the treatment and rehabilitation of persons with substance use disorder. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, as we mark World Drug Day 2026, let us recommit ourselves as legislators, as leaders, and as citizens to the vision of a Ghana free from the devastation of drug abuse and illicit trafficking. The team before us acknowledges persistent challenges while challenging us to innovate. Let this Parliament rise to that challenge. I salute the brave men and women of Narcotics Control Commission and all partner agencies who risk their life daily in service to this cause. I urge all stakeholders, civil society organizations, the private sector, families, especially, and communities to join hands with government in building a drug-free Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I thank you. May God continue to bless our homeland, Ghana.
That's the statement ably made by the Honorable Minister responsible for Interior. The floor would be open, but before opening the floor, is there any indication as to the number of comments we should take on the statement?
Mr. Speaker, if I agree that we'll do 2-2. We wanted to do more, but looking at our colleagues, I think we can do 2-2. So that.
Yes, is that the agreement?
Speaker, he's only inviting me to make other comments.
You must resist
but I will
that
not yield.
temptation.
Speaker, I'll resist the invitation.
Yes, resist that
I will not be
temptation.
tempted. But we have a gentleman agreement that we'll do to apiece.
Very well. Yes, Honorable Isaac Bama.
Speaker, let me commend the Minister for Interior for making this important statement in this House. Mr. Speaker, this statement is coming at the background of one of the biggest busts of cocaine in Australia, where in the that's some call it cocaine, but reported drug arrest in Australia, amounting to the tune of about 400 million pounds to $500 million. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the majority leader wants to engage me here, but importantly, the issue of.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, these are very serious matters. If drugs have been arrested in Australia purporting to come from Ghana, the specific type of drug and the value are two very important matters. If the value is about $70 million and go and say it's $400 million, you are putting it at a completely different level. Okay? If it is other kind of medicines that are prohibited in that country and you go and say cocaine, it's completely different. So first and foremost, I can tell you as a fact that it is not cocaine. And I can also tell you that it is not up to $400 million. So those two are factually inaccurate.
Mr.
I'm sorry, before he comes in, earlier on, the leader of the House had indicated that the minister was coming under 91. And Speaker, you inquire.
Yes, the minister himself said he's coming under 93.
No, and then
the guidance is that the minister came under.
So the most important point I'm making in this regard is that we are commemorating World Drug Day. And this is coming at a time where Ghana, and the minister said in his statement that we are no more being seen as a country point, but it is now a hub where people are trying to use to generate and to create a hub for cocaine or other drug exports. So,
yes.
Mr. Speaker, we are talking about
Why do you do this to your own country?
methamphetamine. That's what it is. Is this cocaine? This is not cocaine. Is this cocaine? This is not cocaine. And the person who was discharged, the person who was charged before the Australian courts is a British, a UK citizen. He is alleging that he passed through Ghana. We don't know whether it passed through Ghana. It hasn't been established yet. So a UK citizen in Australia, not cocaine, alleging that it passed through Ghana. And I'm actually basing my and I'm not even sure about this quantum that you are talking about.
In the junior high school, the senior high school, and the tertiary institutions. And even information suggests that it is on the ascendancy even in the northern part of this country. And so there's a big problem that we are confronted with as a country. And so
comment briefly on this statement ably made by the Minister for the Interior on this very important day dedicated, to a day against drug abuse and illicit trafficking. And Mr. Speaker, the Minister has clearly demonstrated the burden and the magnitude of this problem. And he's going to say that, if care is not taken and we don't manage it very well, it's overwhelming, disturbing the health system and other systems. And Mr. Speaker, it's very worrying where we have our youth, who we say are the future leaders, that are into drug abuse. And he also said that, the problem exists because of the fact that we are not doing more on education, public education, especially to our children. My colleague on the other side just mentioned the issue of students, junior high, senior high. I mean, it's unbelievable. And as a country, if we don't work hard, then we'll not have a future. Because I don't see any future where our youth abuse drugs. And so, Mr. Speaker, he also mentioned that what is worrying is about 66 out of the 261 districts that we have in this country do not have, active presence or offices of NACOC. And I think that is a serious issue that we have to look at because of the porous borders that we have in this country. Mr. Speaker, mostly when we talk about drug abuse, many of us, our minds go to the cannabis, and substances like that. But we even have common drugs that people abuse. People abuse paracetamol, which we say, oh, it's common paracetamol, but people abuse it. The moment you are taking a drug more than the recommended dosage, you are abusing that drug. For an adult, normally when the doctors prescribe, you realize that between 500 and 1 gram, that's the limit. Some people can chew paracetamol, 2 grams, 3 grams. It's drug abuse. I know some young ladies who would abuse what we say cytotec. I mean, it's a drug that should be recommended, but they use it to induce abortion. So when you say you come to the hospital and you say, it's not good, my faith, I'll not do it for you, what they do is that they go to the market, buy cytotec, insert it. You understand? No, I'm educating the public. No, they are doing it, and therefore they have to know that it's not good. It's drug abuse. So they now come bleeding, and there's no doctor who will see a lady bleeding that you not attend to that lady. So that is a form of drug abuse, which we should educate our people to stop. So I want to conclude on emphasizing the fact that we should strengthen public education in our families, at the church, mosque, all the media and whatever channels that we can use to educate our public on drug abuse and illicit trafficking. We should do that. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I don't take it for granted at all. Mr. Speaker, drugs have become a very big issue in this country. Between myself and the Minister of Interior, we have a situation even in our constituency which has been age-long and has been very difficult in dealing with the Tinker Island menace, which when the minister assumed office, he made it his a priority to fight. However, it appears that it's a very difficult one to fight. Mr. Speaker, it's not just that situation. When you go around the country, drugs or the menace of drug is really destroying the youth of this country. And I think that the need has arisen for us to pay very serious attention to it. Mr. Speaker, I think that we cannot leave it to the security agencies alone to combat it. We should get everybody on board, particularly the church and all religious groups, the influential members of society, particularly traditional leaders, and so on and so forth. There was an initiative, Mr. Speaker, I made in my community, in my constituency, where I got the church involved in fighting it through counseling and campaign. Maybe it's something that we can engage on, because, Mr. Speaker, it's really, really destroying the youth of this country. A lot of them, Mr. Speaker, have dropped out of school. Some, Mr. Speaker, are no longer able to work. If they are gainfully employed, they drop out of it. Mr. Speaker, it's a very big issue. So I'm happy today we are making it an important issue in this House. I don't think that we should leave it or limit it to just today, because the future belongs to the youth. And if we sit down and watch or look on for them to be destroyed by drugs, certainly we will have no future as a country. And so, Mr. Speaker, this is a matter which I support my colleague, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Efia, that we should refer the matter for a committee to look into how best this can be dealt with, beyond just the enforcement made by the security agencies. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I'm grateful.
Thank you. Yes, Honourable Member, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this timely statement ably delivered by the Honourable Minister for the Interior, Alhaji Muntaka. The team is telling world drug problem, persistent issues, new challenges, innovative responses. Mr. Speaker, I want to join the Honourable Minister for Interior in commending the Narcotic Control Commission, General Mante and his men, for the wonderful work they are doing for Ghana. But I also include agencies like the Bureau of National Intelligence, faith-based organizations, the National Signals Bureau, the Ghana Police Service, and many more that collaborate to ensure that this fight is carried to a level that is desirable. Mr. Speaker, the problems associated with this menace are multifaceted. You can talk about the health implications of it, but I want to consider the security implications of drug abuse. Violent crime is usually associated with drug abuse. On many occasions, when you arrest criminals that have gotten involved in violent crime, you get to realize that many of them have been influenced by drugs. And this is a very serious matter, very particularly among the youth. We talk about the complications on common conflicts. A conflict that could be resolved between a brother and a brother. If they are influenced by drugs, it will become communal and gradually become armed and finally becomes complicated. Mr. Speaker, can you imagine a father or the breadwinner of a family who gets involved in drugs and finally gets addicted? He loses productivity. And if you do that, at the end of the day, you cannot even take care of your family. You leave your children to despair. And finally, these children will become delinquent, roaming about the street and growing to become a problem of society. Mr. Speaker, human capital resource depletion is a serious matter. We rise up all the time and say the future belongs to the youth. We are looking at young people growing up to become better than us. If you walk onto the street and you see these sleeping young men, a young man who is walking and sleeping. Is that the future we want to build as a country? If that happens to be your son, will you be a happy father or a mother? So it is a serious matter if you're looking at the human resource capacity development for this country vis-a-vis the rising menace of drug abuse. Mr. Speaker, youth radicalization in an environment where we are surrounded by conflict is a matter that we should take seriously. If you go to our villages and our young people are on tramol, somebody will say, unim red. To wait, do you know red? And that is a drug that they take and they think that they are already in heaven, even though they've not died yet. This is a very serious matter. Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to just rely so much on the problems. I want to look at innovative approaches. I want to encourage the Honorable Minister for Interior, through government, if we can partner with faith-based organizations to build more rehabilitation centers. I have gotten a personal experience taking about three constituents of mine to a rehabilitation center in Mamponti in Kumasi. And today, they've come out from that center and they're in Kumasi now learning the trade. And anytime I see them, I think that the rehab centers are things that we should invest in as a country if we want to fight the drug menace. Mr. Speaker, the young people are getting involved in drug abuse. Let's use the young people to deal with them. Youth groups that can advocate to create peer pressure, to let their young people or their colleagues to stop getting involved in these things. What is interesting is that if you go to Galamsey site, anytime you see Galamseyers armed to the teeth, going to seize another concession of another Galamseyer, it tells you that they are high on drugs. And the trade itself calls for drug abuse. And it's a very dangerous thing for all of us. Mr. Speaker, the National Apprenticeship Program initiated by this government is a skill development initiative that can ensure that our young people have something doing and earning income. And they will not just be walking around the street doing things that are so unnecessary. If you allow me to conclude, Mr. Speaker, if all we do is to enforce the law, then we've not gone far. Law enforcement should look at suppliers. Law enforcement should look at major suppliers and producers. But if you go arresting people who are smoking one roll, you arrest somebody who has smoking one roll, he's addicted to it. And we concentrate in dealing with the users of drugs, we'll be missing the point. So let's be humane on people who are addicted to drugs. But let's be very serious on people who are doing business and supplying drugs and making money. If we are able to do this, Mr. Speaker, I think that the cry of the Honorable Minister for Interior will go.
Yes, minority leadership. Very well, majority leadership. Honourable members, we've come to the end of that statement. Ordinarily, I should be referring the statement to the minister responsible for Interior. He is the maker of the statement. So he's taking note of the content of the statement. Honourable members, in the absence of any other statement, statement time has ended. Yes, majority. Deputy Whip.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. The Deputy Minister for Finance is here. We had an agreement for him to take item 42 and 43 as captured at page 25 of today's order paper. Before we move to item 14, to take the report from Finance Committee.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have no objection to that.
Very well. Item number 42, Minister for Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that item number 14 on today's order paper be moved now. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, motion move. Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable members, motion move and seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. This is a procedural motion. I'll put a question. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion numbered 42 at page 25 for today's order paper is accordingly adopted. Now the consequential motion numbered 43. Minister for Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Ghana Investment Promotion Authority Bill 2025 be now read the third time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, motion ably moved. Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable members, motion moved and seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, I'll put a question. As many as are in favour, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is accordingly adopted.
An act to establish the Ghana Investment Promotion Authority to encourage, promote, facilitate, and regulate investments into and within Ghana, to provide for the creation of an incentive framework and a transparent, predictable, and facilitating environment for investment in Ghana, to facilitate investment outside Ghana by Ghanaian investors in Ghana, and to provide for related matters.
Honourable members, the Ghana Investment Promotion Authority Bill 2025 is duly and ably read the third time and accordingly passed. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I will now move to item 14 at page 7 of today's order paper.
Very well. Yes, Deputy Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, no objection. Thank you.
Very well. Item number 14 at page 7. Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this Honourable House adopts the report of the Finance Committee on the annual public debt management report for the 2024 financial year. Mr. Speaker, in doing so, I present the committee's report. Mr. Speaker, I would highlight a few salient points and request Hansa to capture the entire report as though same was read on the floor. Mr. Speaker, the committee, in considering the referral, met with the Honourable Deputy Finance Minister, Mr. Thomas Nyako Ampim, the Chief Director of the Ministry of Finance, Mr. Patrick Nemo, and his technical team from the ministry to assist the committee deliberate on these matters. Mr. Speaker, the committee observed that the report was consistent with Section 2 of Act 921 of the Public Financial Management Act. Mr. Speaker, observations of the committee. The committee observed that the total public debt in 2024 stood at 726,780 million Ghana cedis, representing 61% of GDP, a movement from 610 million in 2023. Mr. Speaker, the committee observed that as a result of the government's relationship with the IMF in implementing the ECF agreement, the government of Ghana undertook debt restructuring in compliance with the directive of the IMF. The domestic debt exchange program was part of the entire debt exchange program. But the committee observed that after the completion of the exercise in 2024, about 19.3 billion of debt service in respect of the new bonds that were exchanged was paid by government. Mr. Speaker, the committee observed that on the 13th of December 2022, Ghana formally requested for debt treatment under the G20 common framework for debt treatment beyond the debt service suspension program. Government therefore announced the external debt service suspension program on the 19th of December 2022. Based on this, the Eurobond holders constituted themselves into an ad hoc committee, 2 ad hoc committees, to engage government in the negotiation of the Eurobond debt restructuring. Mr. Speaker, the Eurobond restructuring with government was involved the exchange of 13.1 billion of outstanding Eurobonds, in addition to about 1.1 billion representing the post-default interest accrued over the period. Mr. Speaker, by the end of 2024, the government of Ghana had successfully restructured most of those debts. Mr. Speaker, the committee accordingly recommends to this House to adopt the report of the Committee for Finance on the 2024 Annual Public Debt Report. Mr. Speaker, in accordance with the Financial Management Act 2016 Act 921, I therefore so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, motion number 14 at page 7 of today's order paper will be moved. Any seconder?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I write to second the motion, and then I'll make a few comments on your committee's report. Mr. Speaker, reading from page 6 of your committee's report, item 5.10, I read, the provisional nominal stock of public debt increased from 610 billion in 2023 to 726 billion in 2024, an increase of or debt to GDP ratio of 68.7%. Mr. Speaker, we need to learn something from all these numbers, because if you keep on borrowing and you don't have the capacity to pay back, or the question is, what actually did you use that money for? If you don't invest those monies into productive ventures, by the end of the day, you can't pay back the facility. It became part of the public debt, and that was part of the reasons why even we were just shut from the international market, we could not access any funding and all that. So it's not about the numbers, but what you use the money for. For example, we took a facility, we set up the Ghana Gas Infrastructure Project. Within 3 years, the facility paid for the loan that we contracted, meaning you put the loan into productive venture, which can help you pay back that facility. And now it doesn't also mean that you can also do social infrastructure, but you have to balance it out. Let's take our airport, for example. Accra International Airport, Kumasi Airport, Sunyani Airport, yes. All of them are running at a loss. It's only Accra International Airport which is sustaining all the airports. So if you take off Accra International Airport, the rest are running at a loss. They're not even breaking even. So we need to talk to each other. When ministers come here, present facilities. It's not by it's my party, we are in government, we promise this, we promise that. So we have to, there must be a paradigm shift. Let's put the money where our mouth is. So by the end of the day, we'll have value for money. But we are just looking at numbers. What's happened in 2023, 2024? It was a national disgrace for the whole country to be blacklisted that you can't come to us for a loan. If you want to come to us, come and beg us so that we write off some of your debt. We must learn something from what happened between 2022, 23, and 24. That's why you have a finance minister who is instilling some discipline, fiscal discipline. And people are complaining, the minister is not spending. You can't give what you don't have, Mr. Speaker. You can't give what you don't have. Now you are paying some debt, and we invited people to come and account for their stewardship. They say, oh, they will not come. Come and account for a stewardship. The person says, I will not come. All these numbers were recorded under his stewardship. So, Mr. Speaker, let's go beyond the numbers. Ask the critical questions. What did we use those monies for? So that the new ministers will also learn something. For one day, that day of accountability will come. But I'm sure they will not run away because they are doing what is right, and the good people of this country are witnessing, and there's a positive manifestation of their stewardship. So, Mr. Speaker, we shouldn't be grossing over these numbers. Let's go beyond the numbers and make sure we are managing public purse, taxpayers' money. The purse itself was missing, so nobody was managing it. So, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. Tomorrow or tomorrow next, the Economic Committee will also present that of the 2025, and we will see the difference. We will see the improvement that there's a new government in place. The resetting agenda is taking a very good shape. I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yes, the floor is still open for debates. Yes, Honorable Onyina, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this debate on this report on the 2024 annual public debt. Mr. Speaker, this report shows one thing which is really clear, that although we had a setback as a country due to some global factors, between 2022 and 2024, this report highlights a certain improvement and growth trajectory between the same period. That was occasioned by prudent management of the economy in making sure that good policies and systems were put in place. Mr. Speaker, please recall that during the COVID era, people stayed at home for months, 9 months. Teachers, nurses, doctors, they stayed at home, but they were being paid. This resulted in a 12 billion shortfall that we needed to account for. You were staying at home and you were being paid. Where were you expecting the money to come from? Productivity was down, but the government, which is a listening government, which was re-echoed in what the former President Akufo-Addo said, that we know how to bring the economy back, but we don't know how to bring people's lives back. And because of that initiative and that mindset, he ensured that people were catered for. And this created some shortfalls in the economy, which he knew forehand that we will be able to restore the economy. And because of that, he prioritized the lives and needs of individuals other than the economy. We paid a big price for it. But today, we are seeing the good results of the measures that were put in. Mr. Speaker, in 2023, the public debt was 610 billion. 2024, it rose to 726 billion. However, if you look at the debt to GDP ratio, 2023 was 68.7, but the 2024 figure was 61.8, signaling that the GDP, the growth rate, increased from 3.1 to 5.7. This is what we were talking about, that we know how to bring the economy back. And because of that, the economy grew from 3.1 to 5.7 in 2024 because of the prudent measures that the government put. Mr. Speaker, if you even look at the cedi depreciation against the major currencies, you realize that in 2023, the cedi depreciated by 27.1 against the USD, 31.9 against the Great British pounds, and 30.3 against the euro. But in 2024, because we said we were on a growth trajectory and we were recovering from the COVID and Ukraine war, the CD depreciated by 19.2 against USD, 17.8 against British pounds, and 13.7 against the euro, which meant a growth and a positive recovery of 7.9% against the USD, 14.1% against the British pounds, and 16.6% against the euro. Mr. Speaker, this is what we are talking about. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the debt exchange program, in 2024, there were serious haircuts. There were serious commitments that the government made, the Kufuor government made, so that this government and this NDC government can reap the benefits. We did external debt restructuring, gave room and space for this government to breathe. By the end of the day, they turn back and chastise us. When we have done all the dirty work for the NDC to enjoy, they are now saying that we did a shoddy job. We cleared the path. We did all the dirty work. We bulldozed our way through, and now you have a clear path to work and enjoy. It is all in the interest of Ghana. So we appreciate whatever. We should appreciate and give credit where credit is due. Mr. Speaker, on the financial sector cleanup, you recall that it was budgeted that we will use 4 billion Ghana cedis on the financial sector cleanup. 4 billion euros. We ended up using 3.5 billion. Mr. Speaker, this money went to save millions, especially in the Securities and Exchange Commission. I have a personal story to tell on this. Up till now, some of my investments are locked up in this, but the good thing is that the previous government, the Kufuor government, made me get some part of it. This government promised in the campaign trail that it was going to ensure that all the people whose monies were locked up in the financial sector cleanup, this government said within 1 year, they were going to pay everybody. Now they have backtracked on whatever promise that they gave to the good people of Ghana. And this is how we find ourselves. This is the government that always backtracks on every promise, that almost all the promises that they gave on cocoa, on financial sector cleanup, on teacher dabre, almost all the sectors of the economy. This government is backtracking on its promises. And it has also backtracked on the financial sector cleanup, the promise that they gave, they were going to restore deposited to what level that they were. Mr. Speaker, so in ending, all that I say is that let us give credit where credit is due. We had a blip in our growth. There were issues with our economy, but there was a government who was thinking about the people and the welfare of the people, and they put in measures to ensure that we come out and we come out safe. So we should give credit where credit is due, and we should applaud the previous MPP government in 2024 for doing a yeoman's job, for clearing the way and making way so that the growth that we are seeing now is evident and is being experienced by all Ghanaians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable Erikafo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to add my voice to the report from the Finance Committee expressing the debt portfolio, our debt situation in 2024. Mr. Speaker, from the report and at the observation column 5.1, the report is giving us the debt overhang as at December 2024 that has been quoted as 726.8 billion Ghana cedis, as a debt to GDP ratio of 61.8. Mr. Speaker, this figure is scary. It's a scary figure. Mr. Speaker, to understand what I'm saying, I would like her to take the historical antecedents of our debt overhang. Mr. Speaker, from 2001 to 2004, from 2001, the debt, right, put it on paper, the total debt handed over to MPP's government, J. Kufuor's government, was 5.42 billion Ghana cedis. 5.42 billion Ghana cedis. And yet, they couldn't manage it. They sent the country to the club of HIPIC. HIPIC. Mr. Speaker, I'm very happy to quote today that within the 4 years, when they took the government into HIPIC club, we enjoyed $5.7 billion. Mr. Speaker, this is a figure we should quote. Mr. Speaker, by the close of 2008, at the end of the term of J. Kufuor, apart from enjoying all these things, the debt portfolio was 9.73 billion Ghana cedis. After enjoying all these things, 9.73 billion Ghana cedis. The Speaker, this is an expansionary fiscal policy within the second term of President J. Kufuor. The Speaker, when they handed over to Atamoso's and John Dramani Maham's administration, Mr. Speaker, we added only 26.27 with respect to expansion of infrastructure facilities. Mr. Speaker, in total, it was 36 billion. Mr. Speaker, from that time up to the time 2016, NDC exited power, the entire debt portfolio was about 120 billion. Now let's come to what is happening now. Within the span of 4 years, Mr. Speaker, the MPP government, this is the period under consideration, 2024. They added 604.4 billion Ghana cedis, adding to the previous one, making it 276 billion. Mr. Speaker, this is ridiculous. How can you use 8 years to expand the debt portfolio overhang on Ghanaians' head, 604 billion? That's what we are seeing now, with a debt to GDP ratio of 61.8 billion, 61.8%. Mr. Speaker, this is the management of the debt, the national debt the MPP did within their term. So we are saying that, Mr. Speaker, we should try as much as possible to manage our debt very well in the country. Your debt speaks about you. The debt speaks about Ghana, and therefore we should be able to do well. Mr. Speaker, to add more, I know we are not referring to 2025, but let me say that within a span of 1 year, we have reduced the debt from 726 billion to 641. Within 1 year, I think the others will follow. With debt to GDP ratio from 61.8% to 44.7%. That is why we are saying that we are managing the economy very well, and you understand it. So let's say that let's try as much as possible to manage our debt situation very well, which NDC is doing that. I've given you the historical antecedents. It is telling you that NDC, we are managing the economy better than your side. So, Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity to add my voice to the report, to say that NDC is doing well, we are solving your problems for you. You should be remorseful. MPP should be remorseful. Remorseful of the debt overhang. They left. for Ghana. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this report. Mr. Speaker, I find it surprising that our colleagues here are still talking about the previous government when it comes to the economy of this country. Mr. Speaker, the previous government left office January 7th, 2025, and it's been more than a year. So I think they should stop accusing the previous government, everything about the previous government. I had my colleague here talking about HIPIC. Mr. Speaker, HIPIC was around J. Kufuor time. If we also go on, then we can talk about PAMSCAD and the Structural Adjustment Program that sold all our indigenous factories, over 300 of them, the jute factory in Kumasi, in Sawam Cannery, Aboso Glass Factory. With all this in mind, that's why His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo brought in, and Dr. Bawumia brought in the 1D, 1F. If these factories were there, you wouldn't have brought in 1D, 1F. You sold all our factories. And now, instead of them to be remorseful and apologizing to Ghanaians that they will continue the 1D, 1F, they are rather going around lamenting and starting 48-hour markets, 24-hour markets. That's why they are struggling with their 24-hour market. Mr. Speaker, let me take you to page 4 of the report, the table. You could see that gross nominal public debt between 2023 in the dollar denomination reduced from 52 million to about 49 million. A country and a government that was unfortunate to witness the Ukraine-Russian war, that was unfortunate to witness COVID. With the NDC in government, even stone throwing from Iran to Lebanon, they increased fuel prices. Mr. Speaker, they should give credit where credit is due. Mr. Speaker, if you move to 5.6 of the report says that current account balance improved from a surplus of 1.7 of GDP in December 2023, when we were experiencing challenges, to a surplus of 4.3% of GDP in December 2024. Mr. Speaker, the NPL rate even reduced by 300 basis points. Mr. Speaker, I will advise this government to always give credit to the previous MPP government so that we also help them in managing the economy. Mr. Speaker, moving forward, we could see that the exchange rate indexes, even in an economy where we were experiencing wars and natural disasters like COVID, it also improved drastically. Mr. Speaker, I'll end by saying that we support the report, but they should give credit to where credit is due. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Ataisa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Let me commend the Minister of Finance and the Finance Committee for the report on the
2024 Annual Public Debt Report. Mr. Speaker, the conclusion is very interesting. And I quote from page 16. The committee had carefully considered the 2024 Annual Public Debt Report and was of the view that the year 2024 was a difficult year for Ghana, and the market conditions posed significant challenges to the country's debt strategy. The implementation adversely impacting on cost and risk indicators of the public debt portfolio. Mr. Speaker, this report is a consensus, or it was a report that was adopted by two sides of the House. And we unanimously said that 2024 was not a good year for Ghana. So that settles the matter. Mr. Speaker, the Section 72 of the Act, which is the Public Financial Management Act, instructs the Minister of Finance to do the public debt management in respect of, 1, borrowing and other government debt management operations, B, guarantee lending activities of government and other financing arrangements entered in by Ghana. Mr. Speaker, it will interest you to note that if you look at page 4 of the report, the total public debt as at the end of 2024 was 726.6 billion. This is the highest. In fact, President Akufo-Addo alone borrowed more than 13 other presidents combined since the first republic of our republic. Mr. Speaker, aside that, look at 1 year nominal increase. In 2023, the total public debt was 610 billion. And in 2024, it moved to 726 billion. Mr. Speaker, what it means is that in 1 year, President Akufo-Addo accumulated a total of 161 billion Ghana cedis to our public debt. This is the highest we've ever seen in the sub-region. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the components of the public debt, out of the 726 billion, 416 billion, representing 57.4%, represent the external debt component. What this simply means is capital flight. Once your total debt portfolio includes more of foreign debt, it means that you repatriate more money to the other nations. That is capital flight to our economy. And that is why we didn't get good value for money in 2024. Mr. Speaker, it is also interesting to note, and let me proceed, when you look at the domestic debt exchange program. Speaker, let's not celebrate mediocrity. The domestic debt exchange program is a timely reminder to Ghanaians the painful decisions that you took that inflicted cost. In fact, people lost their lives as a result of that. Let's not be celebrating this type of development. Mr. Speaker, the idea of the domestic debt exchange program was because Ghana declared for the first time a country that defaulted on our debt obligations. That was the reason why we approved the IMF. In fact, the Dutch bond and the local issued bonds of government was clear that Ghana was highly unsustainable. For the first time in 2022, Ghana had a total debt to GDP ratio of 104%. It means that when you add all production in Ghana, it could not even service the total public debt of our republic. That was the basis why we approached the IMF for the domestic debt exchange program. Yet, the one who put us in this is still fighting for status in America. Mr. Speaker, let me proceed to the exchange rate development. In 2024, Mr. Speaker, this is what the committee observed, that Ghana cedi, which is currently appreciating by over 40%, depreciated against the United States dollar by 19.2%, 17.8% against the British pound, and 13.7% against euro. What it means is that there was an automatic imported inflation into our economy, because all imported goods, because of the appreciation of the depreciation of the currency, will be a pass-down cost to goods and services that consumers will buy at the end of the day. Mr. Speaker, so the debt domestic exchange program shouldn't be celebrated. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, it's important for me to also note, if you look at the external debt service component, what shocked us was that in 1 year, we paid 766 million United States dollars in interest costs. Do you know that the money that we used to pay interest costs could have been used to complete all the Agenda 111 hospitals. The Afari hospital that you visited, this interest cost that you paid could have been used to deal with that matter, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the interest rate structure of Ghana, and with your permission, I'll read from page 10. The interest rate structure of the external debt represents 70.4% fixed interest, variable interest of 16.8%, and the decision was clear. You needed 9 billion Ghana cedis to solve this problem. You ended up by spending 3.5 billion euros in solving a 9 billion Ghana cedis problem. And you said we should clap for you. Ghanaians still have issues to deal with that. Mr. Speaker, on credit ratings, that's where I will land. On credit rating, Mr. Speaker, for the first time, a former finance minister suggested that Ghana should also, or Africa should also get our own rating agencies. And what was the reason? The reason was simple, that the credit rating agencies described Ghana as a junk economy. The verdict out there was that Moody's, S&P, even JP Morgan's rated all our stocks junk. We couldn't borrow favorably in the international market. COCOBOD couldn't even secure the usual syndicated loans that we are used to. But today, what are we seeing? All the rating agencies are giving Ghana positive economic outlook and stable macroeconomic environment. In fact, that is the reason why Ghana even qualified for a PCI program, because we have a stable macroeconomic condition. And finally, the recommendation is important for me, Mr. Speaker, and I think the Deputy Chief will mention it, that Ghana, we should stop borrowing for non-productive investments. We should borrow for things that are self-financing. For example, he talked about the airports. Any airport that we are doing should be able to pay for itself, so that SOEs do not borrow money and later government of Ghana has to absorb as a central government cost like we are witnessing in COCOBOD. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, I will say that the House should adopt the committee's report as a true reflection of what happened in 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Deputy Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm yielding to Honorable Boama, a member of the committee.
Very well.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to comment on your committee's report laid by the Finance Committee to this House regarding the 2024 annual public debt position. Mr. Speaker, this is a constitutional requirement. If you take the Public Financial Management Act, 2016 Act 921, it is mandatory that the Minister of Finance present an annual public debt report in accordance with Section 72 of the Act. And so, ordinarily, this is a mandatory report that is expected to be presented to the House. This report also affords us an opportunity to take stock of how we have performed in terms of our debt position as a country, so that we can learn the lessons from them going forward. So the 2024 public debt report has given us some insight into how Ghana has progressively grown in its public financial management as well as the public debt position. I would like to initially respond to some of the comments made by the ranking on the chairman of the Economic Committee, Honorable Afol. You know, I at times agree when we make some political jabs on the floor, but it is also important to be factual to the facts before us. You can't approbate and reprobate. He was using nominal numbers to determine how far our public debt has grown. But if you check in terms of debt to GDP, some of the worst moments we have encountered as a country was in the year 2014, 2015, under your administration and watch. Mr. Speaker, in 2015, the total debt, public debt to GDP stood at 72%. And in 2016, it stood at 73%. If you take this report, Mr. Speaker, and you come to the observation 5.1, it is saying that the total GDP as of 2024, debt to GDP, stands at 61%. And if you compare that to global average, international best practice and standard, the average total debt to GDP ranges between 68 to 72%. And in 2024, the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, even having come from a very terrible backdrop of 2019-2020, was able to sell this country to a debt position of 61%. And so you cannot call that a bad performance. And these are the facts that we should be able to speak to as a people. And I always say, Mr. Speaker, all the things that the current administration is able to project and do, they've been there before. They could only do that because of the recovery process that this economy had been through. Mr. Speaker, let me take you to paragraph 5.6. This is the report of your committee. The committee observed that the performance of the domestic economy showed signs of recovery in 2024, largely due to the implementation of the IMF Extended Credit Facility Program. Mr. Speaker, it goes to tell us that the domestic economy recorded a real GDP growth of 5.7% for 2024, exceeding even the revised target of 3.1%. Mr. Speaker, current account balances improved from a surplus of 1.7% of GDP in December 2023 to a surplus of 4.3% of GDP in December 2024. This is a report of the monetary policy of the Bank of Ghana. And this shows that the government at the time, in 2024 report, as we are reviewing today, performed creditably. So we should stop this political propaganda syndrome that creates the impression that this country was in a dire situation. The NDC government picked it from a position that was wrong and bad. Mr. Speaker, let me take you to the 5.3. I will take you to 5.3. Mr. Speaker, so if you take the performance of this report, it is clearly indicative that the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, in 2024 had worked out a very strong economic foundation. They had laid a strong foundation that enabled you as a political party to take this country to the level that you are. Even today that you are making noise. What has PURC said to us? The increase in electricity tariff. They said that it is because of an exchange rate. They cited exchange rate increment and also cited the rate of inflation. How can inflation be on the downturn? How can interest rate be on the downturn and still increase electricity charges? In 2025-26, cumulative, ECG has increased, PURC have increased electricity bills by almost 30%. And that cannot be a country, an economy that is being well managed. The facts are there. The facts, as people see, the ordinary Ghanaian is asking, 1.5 years in your term, Honorable Afo said that 2025, the report looks promising. What has changed in the lives of the ordinary Ghanaian? What jobs have you created? The Ghanaian youth are calling for employment. They are calling for jobs. You cannot even tell us how many jobs you have created since 2025 when you came into power. And these are, check the cost of phone calls and check the services that are being served on Ghanaians. You make calls and they cut and they take your credit and you are unable to even go anywhere for remedy. So please, Mr. Speaker, the report before us set a very good foundation that the NDC government have built on. It is our expectation that they will improve on the well-being of Ghanaians. The now inflation that is going up and the interest rates that is going up, we are praying that something is done. Because if we don't do that, then you take us to where you inherited the situation from. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank and just to end, with my colleague, the House, as in your committee, unanimously never said that 2024 performance was bad. Honorable my colleague Issa said the committee agreed in unison that the 2024 report as we are reviewing was a bad one. That is inaccurate, that is not factual. The committee report only indicated that 2024 was a difficult year for the economic management of this country. Mr. Speaker, I want to challenge the NDC administration. They should focus on governance. They should focus on delivering to the people of Ghana. They should create the jobs. They should create the opportunities for industries to grow. The macroeconomic indicators are good. We all see them. But it should reflect in the pockets of Ghanaians. Let the jobs flow. Let Ghanaians who stood in the rain and voted for you get the benefit of governance. And we on this side, Mr. Speaker, our position is always to guide, to offer constructive criticisms and also provide alternatives for the development of this country. We will serve these people, we will serve the people of Ghana with our mandate that we are responsible opposition, we will criticize when need be, and at the end of the day, Ghana should be a better place for us all. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I think we need to take our responsibilities when it comes to public debt management very seriously, very, very seriously. You are all here in this country 2 years ago when we had to declare that we could not pay our debts. And we all know the implications of that decision on our economy, on people's pensions, on livelihoods. The reason why I say let's take this assignment serious is that the ultimate responsibility for managing our debt lies in the hands of this Parliament. Ultimately, the responsibility for managing public debt lies in the hands of this Parliament. We have enacted several fiscal responsibility rules to govern the management of public debt. We have enacted budget deficit rules that finance ministers must never exceed, all towards managing public debt. And ultimately, every debt, every external debt, when it is negotiated, comes to this Parliament for approval. But we have an attitude towards debt, even when it is obvious that the debt ought not to be entered into. We are very reluctant in this House to tell any finance minister that we will not approve a particular loan agreement that the minister has brought. Because we feel that, they say they are going to construct roads. The roads are going to town A, B, C, D. In the clear face of exceeding debt limits, this House will still go ahead and approve them, even though it violates the rules. And so I want us to begin to take this responsibility seriously. But this attitude where we sit in this chamber, we condone the passage of loan agreements, and several years down the line, we begin to play political football with it. Doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anybody. Ultimately, it hurts our citizens. It hurts our economy. So we need to help to make sure that any loan that is brought to us, there is actual value for money. I can assure you that this government, upon coming to office, has had to reject a lot of loans on the basis of the fact that some of them, the amounts, when you look at the amounts and you do the analysis of the loan, you will find out that only 30% of the loan amount is going into the actual thing that you are taking the loan for. You will find 20% going into buying vehicles for the comfort of we are open to criticism. We are open to criticism. We want you to open your eyes as a minority. If anything misses our eye, we don't want it to miss your eye. Tell us, and we will stand with you when you are right, because we want this country to be properly governed and managed. Mr. Speaker, we don't want our finance minister to run outside the country when there's a change of government, because we would have helped him to manage the economy properly. Why? When your side, 88 of you, signed a petition asking for the removal of the finance minister, if they had listened to your side at that time, this country would not be where it is. That same minister will not be running outside the country. Your members raised the issue. They blew the alarm. They said this man is mismanaging our economy. And they signed petitions in this chamber. We were here. And he mismanaged the finances of this country. They were not listened to. I commend them, gallant members of parliament, gallant MPs. Some of them, they hounded them. They went to their constituencies. They financed people against them. And they lost their primaries. Today, those people are borne out by the facts. We are aware of what happened. So, Mr. Speaker, debt management is a matter that we should take seriously in this House.
Honorable Majority Leader, just hold it. Yes.
Right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think we have a report on our hands to discuss. But I've copiously noted that the majority leader is digressing from what is in the report and completely digressing from it. And I'll plead with you.
Honorable Minority Leader, the divestiture that the colleague spoke about, which aspect of the report talks about the divestiture? Honorable members, this is a debate. This is a debate. This is not a comment. I do not see any limitation when it comes to debating. That's why I'm sitting down here quietly, listening to everybody. So I never limited anybody when it comes to debating. So this is a debate. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I am making a simple point that this House should sit up and hold finance ministers accountable. That's the point I'm making. That's the point. That's a simple point. And I'm referring to previous efforts to hold finance ministers accountable that failed. That's all that I'm saying. That I reckon that members on your side did make an effort to hold the finance minister at that time accountable. And then, you know, a lot of them were put under pressure to chicken out.
And some were promoted.
But I'm encouraging you this time that you should be bold and hold the finance minister accountable. And that we will support you. Because we on our own will hold our finance minister accountable. We are holding our ministers accountable. Every day you come here and then you stand there and ridicule our ministers that they are not being given money to operate. Yes, it is true that they are not being given money to operate. That's true. But do you know what happened under your government? Under your government, every minister could get up any day and award contract without reference to the finance minister. That is what put government in huge debt. And then once the contractors presented the bill, the minister had to go and borrow the money to pay the contractors. That was what happened. And that is why in this government, we have imposed limitations. no minister can procure unless you have commitment authorization. Which means that the finance minister has budgeted for that project. If he has not budgeted for the project, you cannot even commence procurement for that project. That way, you don't create a liability that the government will be compelled to go and borrow in order to deal with that liability. That is discipline. That is good governance. You must cut your cloth according to the size of your material. And if your economy cannot support it, ministers cannot spend simply because you want them to spend. So what we did was to cut down the number of ministries, to cut down the number of ministers, all in an effort to make sure that Ghanaians are spending within their limits. That is the level of this discipline that John Dramani Mahama is injecting into the governance of this country. No external borrowing. We will borrow ultimately when we can show that we can pay for what we have borrowed. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that we are drawing lessons from past mismanagement of our public debts. And this time, we are waiting for 2025 public debt management report. When 2025 public debt management report comes, we will debate it, scrutinize it, and at that point, I'll be expecting you on this side, since you are the opposition, to pay close attention to that report and see if there is proper management of public debt in this country. If you do not scrutinize it properly, we will be compelled to show you proper management of public debt in this country. Because I'm very confident that the 2025 report on the public debt management of this country will be very revealing. It will show the contrast between an MPP government and an NDC government. It will show the contrast between John Dramani Mahama and Akufo-Addo. And Ghanaians will know that a good government has come into place. Mr. Speaker, jobs will be created if you manage your public debt properly. Managing your public debt properly is part of creating jobs. If you are hugely indebted, and all the credit rating agencies declare your economy junk, how are you going to create jobs? You are hugely indebted. The banks are collapsing, pensions are collapsing, everything is collapsing financially. How are you going to create jobs? How are you going to create jobs? So, Mr. Speaker, managing your public debt properly gives you an international image that will attract investment into your country. And through that, you can create jobs. So all these things we are doing are towards creating an economy that creates jobs. So let us see that in the light of job creation. So, Mr. Speaker, let me thank the committee for presenting the report for our consideration. And let me assure the committee that we have taken note of all the things that led us into the kind of debt crisis that we had. And we look forward to the 2025 debt report. I believe that in it we'll see how we're improving as a country in the management of our public debt. But going forward, I just want to conclude on the note that this Parliament must seriously scrutinize loan agreements brought before us. This government must scrutinize budget deficits. This government must scrutinize borrowing limits, because failures in all these areas will culminate in huge debts, and trust me, those who have voted for us end up paying a price. And when they are distressed, trust me, it will reflect in the kind of numbers that we saw on your side in the last election. It will reflect. So this time, if we don't do it well, it might reflect on this side. And so we are committed to making sure that we do it well. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, at the conclusion of the debate, the question is, as many as are in favour of the motion, say aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is accordingly adopted. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we will try and conclude work on the Community Service Bill today. We're left with just a few clauses.
Mr. Speaker, the chairman, members of the committee are not here. And I'm looking at the committee looking at the bill for community service. We don't have our representative. Thank you.
The vice chairman is here. I summoned the vice chairman because he's here. The chairman has traveled on an official assignment to Senegal, and so the vice chairman is here. The committee actually has no amendments advertised. The committee has no amendment advertised. The only person who has amendments advertised is the the minority leader. And so if he's not here, we consider the amendments abandoned. Mr. Speaker, you can't advertise amendments and consistently refuse to show up to move your amendments and then delay, government business. So, Mr. Speaker, I think we should continue and then no advertised amendments by the committee, so there's no issue.
Yes.
No, Mr. Speaker, I think we work here under consensus building. Unfortunately, the leader has to do something very critical. That's why he's not around. But to say that if he's not around, the amendments should be abandoned, it's not something.
As for that one, there are many instances that he has given an authority, and then they moved the amendment for and on his behalf.
Yes. We don't have any authority.
But the only worry is that
yes, but I can
say that
by tomorrow
the members of the committee are not here. Therefore,
but
we should not progress with the business. I'm also worried about that.
Yes, but I can give you an assurance that tomorrow you will be available. Today, it's due to some uncontrolled circumstances. You couldn't be here today. But tomorrow we can finish with it.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, let's proceed with the bill. He's proposed these amendments for far too long and persistently not presented himself to move them. All of them, for most of them, have been moved on his behalf. Even when he's in the chamber, when we get to community service, he walks away and then people, take the amendments on his behalf.
Honourable members, community service. Bill 2026.
Acceptable. That is not acceptable, please. It's not acceptable. This is one-sided, and I feel that we need to respect that one. I am making an application to you that let's hold this thing. Tomorrow, it will be the last day for the consideration.
Item numbered 1 at page 16 of today's order paper.
Mr. Speaker,
anybody with authority to move the said amendment? Well, in the absence of authority to move the amendment, we should consider the amendment to abandon. Yes, item numbered 2, clause 59, page 16. Same is abandoned. Item numbered 3, clause 59. Also accordingly abandoned. Item numbered 4. Now let me put a question on entire clause 59. As many as are in favor of clause 59 standing part of the bill, say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 59 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 60.
Discharge of convicted person.
Anybody with authority to move the amendment on clause 60? Page 17, item number IV. In the absence of anybody to move the amendment, same is considered abandoned. Clause 60, item number V, page 17. Same is also abandoned. Clause 60, item number VI. Also in the name of Osahin Alexander Komina Avenue Markins. Anybody with authority to move the amendment? In the absence of anybody ready to move the amendment, same is also abandoned. I will therefore put a question on the entire clause 60. As many as are in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 60 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 61.
Guidelines.
Honourable Member. Very well. We've already taken 61. So we'll go to clause 62.
Regulations.
The proposed amendment is VII at page 18 of today's order paper. Anybody with authority ready to move the amendment? Honourable Member, same is abandoned. I'll put a question on clause 60. As many as are in favor say aye. I'll put a question on clause 62. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 62 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 66.
Transitional provision.
Item numbered VII at page 18 of today's order paper. Who will move? In the absence of anybody ready to move, I'll put the same is considered abandoned. Then we'll move to item number IX, clause 66. Is anybody ready? Same is also abandoned. I will therefore put a question on the entire clause 66. As many as are in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 66 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now, the proposed amendment is X. Add the following new clauses. Is anybody ready? Having the authority to move the said amendment? Same is also abandoned. Now, XI. We've now come to the schedule.
Consequential amendment.
Yes, Chairman of the committee, the first schedule stands.
Mr. Speaker.
Have it. The proposed amendment is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now, the long title.
An act.
Mr. Speaker, there's one last one. To amend to insert second.
Yes, yes. XII. Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, I move that XII amendment proposed insert second before schedule. I so move.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment by the chairperson of the committee to insert second before schedule to make it second schedule? Very well. I'll put a question. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The proposed amendment is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now the long title.
An act to establish a National Community Service Secretariat, provide for community service as an alternative to custodial sentencing for persons convicted for specified categories of offences and for related matters.
Yes, Chairman of the committee, any proposed amendment to the schedule?
No proposed amendment, Mr. Speaker.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment to the schedule? I'll put a question in the absence of any proposed amendment. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The long title is ordered to stand part of the bill. Honourable members, we've come to the end of consideration stage of the Community Service Bill 2026. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I think we will do the rest tomorrow. We are finished, so we'll go to third reading tomorrow. The Minister for the Interior will come and then take the third reading tomorrow.
Yes, you have a motion number 12.
Who survives?
Yeah, yes, sir. Right, Honourable Speaker, we'll take item number 12.
Unfortunately, I recall we mentioned it at conclave, but we don't have copies of the report.
This report has been laid and distributed. Let's check the console. It's been hanging on the order paper for a very long time. Understand it has been on the console for a very long time.
I don't have a problem. They can proceed. You can proceed.
Yes, Chairman of the committee. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Ashai will present the report on behalf of the committee with your indulgence.
Very well. You may move motion number 12.
Hello, Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to move motion numbered 12 on the order paper for today. I move this Honorable House to adopt the report of the Committee on Independent Constitutional Bodies on the budget performance report in respect of the... Mr. Speaker, it should be motion number 13, Mr. Speaker. I crave your indulgence.
No, this is motion number 12. Independent constitutional bodies on the budget performance report in respect of the National Commission for Civic Education.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker,
for the period January to December 2024.
Yes, the report that is ready is for the Electoral Commission.
Yes, very
the
well.
report that is ready. And
so
the
we
report
take
that's been
motion
loaded,
number 13
That's
instead.
why he's drawing attention.
So then you may move motion number 13.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for indulging me. I rise to move this honorable EC in our democratic dispensation. And the Commission's functions are provided for by the Constitution and by its enabling act. And I think that over the years, the EC has performed that function very well. Mr. Speaker, particular mention is found on item 6.0B, and with your indulgence, I would want to read that. The EC mentioned a few challenges that they have faced in the course of 2024 performance. Of course, the report before us is the 2024 performance report. And they state that during the 2024 elections, there were a few infractions that we ought to be reminded of, so it serves as grounds for us to amend our ways and to improve the electoral process. Mr. Speaker, they indicated that some political parties disrupted the election process. They also indicated 2 EC offices that were burnt. Of course, we all know the challenge with CAPEX when it comes to our budgeting process. We find it difficult to allocate funds, and so if their assets like office building are bent down, then we are worsening our already precarious situation. And so I want to draw the attention of the House that we must resolve to improve our electoral processes so we don't run into such situations where the limited resources of the state will be applied to redevelop or rebuild offices. Mr. Speaker, they made a point on CAPEX in 7.4 in your report. With your permission, I read. The committee observed that the EC expended an amount of 98.9 million on capital expenditure and sought clarity in this regard. The committee revealed that of the 98 million, 72.3 million was expended on procurement of biometric equipment. We know that biometric equipment are an essential tool or asset for elections. But if over 85% of their budget will go into that, then their infrastructure will be challenged. Mr. Speaker, I take you to conclude. Mr. Speaker, to conclude, your committee will call upon this House to consider the budgetary allocations for the EC, noting that the EC is an independent constitutional body. And whilst we admit that they must operate as an autonomous body, the EC is subject to oversight of Parliament. And so we must provide them with that oversight, not only when they have come before us, but also to ensure that they get the requisite resources and budgetary allocations for them to deliver on their mandate. And so I would want to call upon the House to adopt the report as presented. Thank you.
Honourable members, motion ably moved. The report presented. Any seconder?
Right Honourable Speaker, I second the motion.
Yes, after that, what do
Mr.
you
Speaker, in seconding the motion, let me make some comments on the report as submitted by state that B, supporters of some political parties disrupted the collation of polling station results in some constituencies, which delayed the collation exercise. We are all in this country and we bear testimony to some of the incidents that occurred during the 2024 elections. Mr. Speaker, supporters of political parties, and rightly indicated here, disrupted the enterprise. It was reported to the police. Up to now, we still haven't had adequate information from the police service as to the status of those individuals and what has happened to them. And it creates a bad situation for us as a country. That was what has led into even by-elections and the confusions that erupted over there. It is very imperative that we take note of that and call on the Ghana Police Service to expedite action in this regard. Mr. Speaker, 2 district officers of the commission in Damangu and Ayinswan were burnt. 2 EC officers were burnt, and up till today, we've still not been able to get report on the status of these incidents. Mr. Speaker, it doesn't augur well for the democratic dispensation that we are in, and it is important that we take note of that. Mr. Speaker, it says that the commission, and this is what is even most alarming, that the commission has not been able to pay over 200,000 election officials who worked at the various police stations and collation centers. And I come from Efia constituency. When we had opportunity to engage the EC, this issue keeps on recurring. Why has government not paid officials of the individuals who supported in the 2024 elections? Why should we have people serve this country in various capacities as elections agents, representative of the Electoral Commission? And for 1.5 years in the term of this government, they've still not released funding to pay for the services of these 200,000 Ghanaians. How then do you call upon them to go and exercise another election in the near future? It is becoming one too many, Mr. Speaker, and it is important that this House make some consequential orders to the Minister for Finance to make those releases available to support the payment, particularly for the officials who perform various functions in the run-up to the 2024 elections. Mr. Speaker, this report has given us some insight into the operations of the Electoral Commission. If you check the compensation, it talked about excess expenditure over budget. Why would we still be having this phenomenon recurring over and over again? We need to strengthen, and we just discussed our fiscal discipline. We should be able to ensure that we work within our approved budget. It shouldn't be that you get a budgetary approval and you expend in excess by over 22 million. That is unacceptable. And then when you talk about staff recruitment, that also they have issues. Mr. Speaker, I believe that going forward as a House, this report is something that requires further scrutiny. It is important that the EC is made to account for the work that it does, but more importantly, government has to rise up to the occasion and make funds available to pay for some of the issues and the challenges that have been outlined. Mr. Speaker, without more, I want to second the motion.
Hours yet. And wanted to take a few bills, but the sponsors of the bill are not immediately available. So I move that this House adjourns till tomorrow. $10 o'clock? 10 o'clock? Tomorrow, 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. in the morning.
Yes, Minority Chief Whip.
Speaker, I thought he would vary his motion because he earlier said 10, and I know there's a communication. So if you can vary, then I can. That's.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we adjourn till 12 in the noon tomorrow.
Yes.
Speaker, I'm happy to second this motion. Just to remind Leader, the last time you had winked to me that I should keep reminding you. Item 11 on page 6. I know we can't take it today. Obviously, we can't take it today. I'm just giving you a reminder. This matter is worrying, and we must put finality to it. So in your scheme of things, please ensure that we get it. Having said that, before I second the motion, you want to comment?
Yeah, we are looking at it, but in the light of the proposal to set up an independent emoluments commission. The advice that I'm receiving is that we hold on a bit because matters relating to conditions of service and pensions and etc. for every arm of government will now fall within the domain of the independent emoluments commission. That's why I have been holding on to it.
Yes.
Speaker, I rise to second the motion moved by the Leader of the House.
Motion moved for adjournment, duly seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. I will then put a question. The question is, as many as are in favor of the motion for adjournment, say aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The House is accordingly adjourned till Friday, 26th June 2026 at 12 noon.